Meatballs! I got 2 pounds of ground beef at the store yesterday. I don't know who I'm making all these meatballs for. What I do know is that leftover meatballs are good for spaghetti and meatballs, meatball parm subs, meatballs and soup. Oh, meatballs on pizza! I chose to get meat that was grass-fed. I chose 85/15. It has enough fat in there where it has the flavor and it'll help bind everything together. So we want a little bit of fat in there for moisturizing our balls. If you already have breadcrumbs, that's great. I really like to start with fresh bread because I think that you're just gonna have more moisture in your meatballs and you don't want dry balls. So you want something spongy, something that's gonna easily soak up the milk. We're gonna soak it in milk. And balls. So I want these super fine and all in the same shape because we're going to make a big bowl of everything and we want all the ingredients distributed evenly. So just enough milk to soak up all the breadcrumbs and let it sit because while the breadcrumbs are soaking, we can do the rest of our ingredients. So let's get our parsley. I chose flat leaf parsley and I'm crazy about rinsing my parsley because where do fruits and vegetables grow? You don't want to eat dirt. I'll wash it about 5 times. And the reason that I like to do it in the bowl is because I can soak all of the vegetables and all the dirt is going to fall to the bottom. We just need the tops and then we'll save the bottoms for Betty the Bunny. I like using the chopper, especially if you have a small space because you can just throw it in there. I'm gonna cut off the ends over here, cut off the end over here, and then with my fingers out of the way, I'll make a little bit of a slit. There's a lot of water that's inside of your vegetables and it's gonna help moisturize your meat. So there's a couple different ways that we can open up this garlic to make it easy for you. Your knife flat on top of the garlic. Make sure you have a flat surface. Hold your fist together like this and just do 1 pound on top. It'll smush it. The paper comes off, you can pop your garlic out. The other way that we can take off the garlic too is you can actually stick it inside of the bowl and do a little wiggle. It will come out. Look at that. Oh, it works! My tip of the day, especially when you're working with garlic or when you're making meatballs, is to get gloves. You can get these at a restaurant supply store. Don't get the powdered gloves. You don't want any powder on your food, so let's mix this stuff together. Turn that on. I'm not crying because of the onions. I'm crying because I'm just so happy to be making these balls for you. But okay, I gotta pour it in. Now we can put everything together. Our breadcrumbs had enough chance to soak up all of the milk. So I have the 2 pounds of ground beef. You have to salt the meat. Table salt and kosher salt are almost half the difference in measurement. So I salt by just looking at it. So I want enough salt just to cover the top. To the salt, we're going to also add some black pepper. 4 eggs for 2 pounds. Crack it on the counter, not on the bowl. We don't want shells in our eggs. I am not going to crack the eggs right into the meat, so I want to beat them as much as possible so I know that all of the yolks and the whites are all mixed together. And the eggs are going to help bind our meatballs. Let's pour it over the top. We are going to add our breadcrumbs, our parsley, garlic, onions, and let's not forget our cheese. So I have a mixture of Parmesan and Romano, but I also have, I chose it because, well, it describes me. Look, it's a sweet and nutty. I wanted my meatballs to be a little sweet and nutty, just like the person who was making them. Let's grate our cheese. Get your fingers in that meat and start mixing it. The meatball mixture has been sitting for about a half an hour, 45 minutes. And what happened was the ingredients all got a chance to know each other. We're using an ice cream scooper to make sure that all of the meatballs are even. If you're using frozen meat, try not to put them back in the freezer. Fresh meat, it's okay for probably a few months. When you're done, please wash your ice cream scoop. I know we talked about a lot of different things you can do with meatballs. Don't put it in your ice cream. I don't think. I mean, maybe. I mean, to each his own. We can bake our meatballs just as they are. We do not need to coat them. I am going to coat them with both a combination of flour and cornstarch. The reason why I'm doing that is because I like that extra crust on the outside. I'm gonna put it in the freezer for at least an hour. A little bit longer if it's fresh. If I tried to fry them now, they would probably kind of fall apart, and I don't want them to do that. I want them to hold their shape. So we took our meatballs, stuffed them with mozzarella sticks, and then we reformed them, rolled it in our flour and the cornstarch, seared the outside in vegetable oil and a little bit of ghee because it has a high smoke point. Do not sear them in extra virgin olive oil. It does not have a high smoke point. No extra virgin olive oils for searing or frying. We finished them in the oven at 350 for about another 10 minutes. I turned off the oven and let them hang out there for another 5 minutes. Oh, look at that. See, we wanted it at least 165. I think that's perfect. We made a tomato sauce using diced tomatoes with the juice in there. And this is where a lot of our dried herbs and spices really help us, and I think they do a beautiful job. So we use garlic, the delicate flavor of the sea salt, dried oregano, and balsamic vinegar. It'll do the same thing that maybe a red wine would do, but I love the acidity, and I also think that it helps with the tomato sauce to make it a little bit sweeter. We're keeping it on low because tomato sauce seems to boil at the lowest temperatures. Let's taste it. I get a little bit of that balsamic vinegar right away, but then the oregano, the dried oregano, as soon as it hits the sauce, it comes alive again. You want spaghetti with your meatballs? You want spaghetti with your meatballs? Yeah, okay. I'm going to add salt to the water. It's time to take a hot bath. Al dente, just about done. You want a little bit of a bite to it. Let's see if it sticks to the wall. Let's drain the pasta, but save some of that pasta water. That pasta water is just gold in your sauce. It's gonna help thicken up the sauce, and then you'll also get the flavor from the pasta itself. The more you mix it, the more the sauce will stick to the pasta because you're releasing all of the starches and it's making it sticky. Let's put our mozzarella stuffed meatballs on top and just let it come together. Put a lid on it. I'm going to chop up my basil, roll them all together, and we're going to slice it into ribbons. So the sauce had a chance to stick to all of the pasta, and we added some Parmesan and Romano cheese to the pasta. So let's make a plate here. Fresh chopped basil on top. Would you like more cheese? Yes, please, always. So let's grate a little bit more on top to make it rain cheese. Before we take a bite, we have to see if the cheese melted in the middle. I see melted cheese. Oh yeah. We'll taste it all together first. Some of that fresh basil. Stop talking, eat it. I get so many flavors from all of the garlic and the onions and the spices, the oregano, the parsley, the fresh basil that's on there. Cheese is love. Meatballs are love. Love your meatballs.